Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, guys? I'm playing. But welcome back. Day 31. And literally I don't know like how to even continue with this. Like my entries, I'm starting to realize today was honestly a bit difficult. I'm going to admit that to take a trade, but I'm going to admit my trade before we even jump into this, my trades have been on point. My entries have been so buns because I always get stopped out so bad. But my bias, my trades, my way of sensing where price wants to push towards and where in what areas of liquidity, internal liquidity that it wants to take out, external liquidity it wants to take out, have been, I'm not gonna say flawless, but they have been growing and consistent. But my entries have been so bad. All right, let's get on into it. Where do we even start? Nasdaq, beautiful Nasdaq, beautiful Nasdaq. Okay, coming into today. Before we even get started, I'm not gonna lie. I took this trade and literally, freaking TradingView was just glitching me everywhere. I didn't want to even take a trade on this, but it still filled me on this candle, so I had to just close my position. And I was waiting for an entry, and I took this entry, which was pretty good, but unfortunately, we're gonna be talking about how I could have got a better entry. But coming into today, ooh, excuse me. Okay, let's look at the news. So today we had nothing. So it was gonna be a pretty decent day for at least to make something shake. Coming into today, um, honestly, nothing really too special. We had a on Nasdaq, we had a 1 hour draw, 1 hour gap that we were honestly playing into a lot, which honestly kind of helped me determine my bias for the wrong way actually. So coming into today, we had a lot of these high value highs that I wanted to see get taken out, but we also had this gap as well that we were playing off of, this hourly gap right here, which honestly caused me to want to see price take out these lows, get a bullish closure out of this fair value gap, and then we'll see price rise up to come take out these highs. And unfortunately, we did not get that. We ended up getting bearish close. I mean, we ended up getting a close out of this fair value gap, bearish fair value gap, and then getting these lows swept, and then we ended up invalidating this bullish fair value gap, which honestly almost made me want to go for shorts after we invalidated this gap and closed below it. Especially because during the macro time we still had a lot of bearish order flow. So I was just thinking, I was like, is it time to just reevaluate everything and just see what we got? But I stood patient and eventually realized that it was a clear day for longs. So coming into today, as you can see, market open. What did we do? We ended up coming down, sweeping out this area of external liquidity, ended up coming down even in the macro, still continuing bearish order flow. We had this 5 minute imbalance right here that we ended up invalidating that inverse fair value gap as well, closing below that. And excuse me. And we also had this order block right here. Order block that price wanted to come and tap into and see bearish pressure out. So from there, I was kind of not worried per se, but I was really just waiting for, okay, let's sweep out these lows, close bullish on that gap, and let's see some bullish order flow. And we did not do that. We came out, filled in this gap, bearish, inversed this, and inversed it again, coming down, sweeping out these lows, still continuing bullish order flow. I meant bearish order flow. From there, I was honestly waiting to see if we were to get a confirmation to see if we can come above these highs right here. These were the original highs, 5 minute highs that I want to see a break of structure towards, because there was no other highs to really, play off of. From there, we ended up making this 5 minute fair value gap, 5 minute imbalance right here that we ended up inversing. And from there, I was like, okay, we low-key kind of just did, well, we low-key manipulated, because if anything, this was accumulation, manipulation, and this was the distribution. Why was it AMD? We accumulated throughout pre-market before we swept lows, came and swept lows, shaking out all the well, we came and manipulated, shaking out all the all the shorters, quote unquote shorters, ended up breaking structure, inversing this bearish fair value gap, which automatically retains to bullish structure. On top of that, breaking 5-minute structure, which was right here. Ooh, excuse me. Ended up breaking 5-minute structure, which was right here. On top of that, ended up creating a, that's not a 5-minute gap, I'm tripping, but on top of that, inversing this, breaking 5-minute structure, and then from there distributing all the way to London highs and Asian highs, which was honestly my whole game plan going on to today. So let's get on to the 5-minute. That was honestly, I mean, 1 minute. This was really the 5-minute. I was only looking at the 5-minute until we inverse this gap, and then from there, that's when I decided to actually like get my hands wet. We ended up breaking above. We didn't really break above any of these highs, but I knew this was going to be a good tool for standard deviation, because as soon as we broke above that high, I kind of scaled down. I was like, okay, we swept out internal liquidity on the 5-minute. All these areas of liquidity had been swept out right here, and then therefore, since we broke structure, that was the manipulation leg. Excuse me, that was the manipulation leg, and then from there, I scaled down to the 1-minute, and here's where I actually messed up on everything, which is honestly my fault. So this was the manipulation leg. Is when we actually got the break structure right here on the 0, and from there, this was the 5-minute break structure. This was the 1-minute break structure. And honestly, from there, I was honestly looking for 1-minute continuation. Excuse me. 1-minute continuation confluences, because we had our 5-minute PD array, which was that inversion right there, inverse for value gap that I showed earlier. And then from there, I was honestly looking for 1-minute continuation. We had this breaker block right here that price ended up retapping into, which I honestly could have entered, but this was honestly my fault. There's no need to even break that out now. But after we got the breaker structure here, all 1-minute entries have honestly been kind of, kind of wonky. What I mean kind of wonky is literally I just missed a good one. We had this fair value gap right here that ended up getting buying pressure out, and I could have honestly, excuse me, I could have honestly, entered from this candle. Well, this candle, because it was the bullish closure out, but instead I was in school at this time, but this was honestly my fault. I ended up seeing this closure. I ended up seeing this fair value gap get made. Ended up entering off that. Stops below this low of this fair value gap right here, which was honestly right here at these equal lows. There we go. At these equal lows right here. And honestly, looking at it, that was honestly my fault, because excuse me, I should have saw that these equal lows were made. And as I said before on previous videos, equal lows are and equal highs are being or more susceptible to being taken out, and then price is going to continue to go where it wants to go. Excuse me. Same thing for relative equal lows as well, and relative equal highs. But coming in, okay. But unfortunately, we got stopped out, and price continued to hit my standard deviation target, which was honestly, this was take profit 1 actually, which was, I'm pretty sure, was a 15-minute PD array. No, it was a 5-minute imbalance right here. 5-minute imbalance right here, which was my TP1. TP2 was London highs. TP3, final take profit would have been Asia highs. And that was honestly pretty unfortunate to see price just stop me out, take out those equal highs, and then continue on its way above me. Honestly, I was honestly not gonna trade, but I saw this forming at 10:40. Well, I saw this forming at like 10:30, and I saw the breaker structure happen at around 10:30. So I was like, okay, maybe it's time to get our hands wet. And unfortunately, we got them wet, all right. But we got them wet, and unfortunately, we got them a little bit too wet. But yeah, that was also Nasdaq. Coming onto ES, this kind of pissed me off the most, I'm not gonna lie. So same thing. Okay, same thing, except for ES, we had massive accumulation. This was honestly kind of AMD at its finest. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. What did we do? We accumulated throughout this zone. Price was just staying in this imbalance, like literally, was just accumulating orders. Manipulated, taking out all internal liquidity. What did we do? I mean, taking out all internal liquidity after taking out that external liquidity. What did we do right after? Ended up, boom, breaking structure on the 5 minute. We technically broke structure, honestly. What is this? Black. Okay, we ended up, yeah, technically broke structure right here, but I want to say right here because these were equal highs that I was seeing being made. I was like, okay, we need to go higher because, well, not we need to, but it was honestly more helping me in my bias in my head determine, okay, longs are pretty correct because we need to go excuse me, we need to take out these equal highs. What did the price do? Price took out these equal highs. We had this 5 minute imbalance right here, which was my PD array, and from there scaled onto the 1 minute. And I honestly kind of messed up on everything here because I should put my stops right below the 5 minute PD array, which honestly should have been right here. Honestly, I probably still would have gotten stopped out either way, so it doesn't really help my case. But you never know, just to be safe. But coming in, this was honestly massive accumulation as well. This is honestly again AMD on the 1 minute because we accumulated heavily throughout this imbalance right here, like massively accumulated. And honestly, I think the better entry would have been from this original fair value gap right here, and then I could have took um longs as well after buying rate. Okay, I mean that, but this would have been the original. This would have been honestly the better play. I probably still would have gotten stopped out, so it doesn't really matter. Um, oh no, the original play actually was this for Valley Gap because I saw this get formed and I honestly stuttered, which was my fault. And you should never stutter when taking a trade. My stops was gonna be under these equal lows, and then it's gonna be a skyrocket back up. And honestly, that would have been my fault. This would have been such a clean freak. Okay, bro. This would have been such a clean trade. Literally after take profit 1 got hit, take profit 2 got hit, would have just left the runner. Or I probably would have got stopped at break. No, I wouldn't even got stopped at break even. But it would have been such a beautiful, beautiful trade. One of my best trades I would have ever took if my executions weren't actually as bad. And unfortunately, I might need to retouch on that. And yeah, that's pretty much today's recap. Um, Today was a bit tricky, however, especially because we were accumulating heavily on both indexes. We also had a bearish 5 minute SMT, actually. Okay. We had this, and then that. So with this bearish SMT, honestly, almost made me reconsider my bias, especially going in towards the macro, because I was like, okay, wait, we made a 5 minute bearish SMT, where we are invalidating this gap. Let me show right here. Okay, this was the gap. I was like, okay, we're invalidating this gap. We have a 5 minute bearish SMT. I'm like, okay. I personally was going to short until these I think these were previous day lows. I want to say, yeah, previous day lows. I was gonna short till previous day lows, but I decided to just keep sitting on my hands, waiting for the macro, and wait to see what price was gonna do. Wait to see maybe this was gonna be like one big whole like AMD, and it ended up being literally an AMD. Um, I wouldn't really say this was textbook because today was honestly kind of challenging, but I'm kind of glad that I stayed patient. Although I lost, I am very glad I stayed patient, and I stuck to my plans, which were literally just to sit on my hands until I saw something shake. I saw something shake, and I unfortunately did not grab it by the neck. I grabbed it by the hair, and ended up losing control, which is why I got stopped out. But moral of the story is I need to fix my executions and honestly work on better executions. Honestly, going into Nasdaq, honestly kind of made me mad the most because like this was honestly very good for standard deviation that I just used, but it's unfortunate. Yeah, that's pretty much low key. That is pretty much it. Um, you win some, you lose some, honestly. But tomorrow we'll definitely get them. Today was just, oh well, as long as we see improvement, man. But I'm glad that I'm actually getting like hands-on work and back testing hands-on work as well. Honestly, makes me more happy. But yeah, I don't want to blabber too much. That's the end of the video. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.